Alright, hello, how's it going everybody? My name is Jazz, I'm a Deathblade main, and I thought I would go over just exactly how I play Surge in hard mode Valtan here. All the tips I talk about are going to apply to normal, but if you guys just recently hit 14-15, as you're gonna see, the game gets a lot harder for Surge players, so I figured I'd just, point out some tips and tricks I noticed that really work for our spec that make the fight a lot easier. And again, this is on hard mode. Basically the main differences are just that his attacks do more knockback and there's 6 armor stacks in the end of the fight. So, yeah, anything that I talk about is going to apply. So as you can see here, we're just going to be starting off the fight as normal. One thing I want to point out is that in our run, we are actually doing this blue orb mechanic properly. We are not going to be doing the Balthor at 130 bars. Also, I am the raid leader in this fight, so I will be using all these sidereal skills. As you can see, we've already destroyed 2 of the 4 pillars with the blue orbs on them, and I am actually in a voice call with my teammates. We're making sure that everyone has gathered an orb, because if anybody misses one, the plan for us was to just use Balthor to make sure no one dies and we can continue the fight. But everyone does actually end up picking one up in this run. So some key takeaways for the beginning of the fight are mostly going to be that while you are playing Surge, you're basically going to be playing the beginning of this like remaining energy, because he jumps up and does that air raid pattern twice. You don't want to start stacking up a Surge skill just for him to jump in the air and you lose all of it. And, I hope you guys understand the mechanics by now. We are clearly breaking his armor stacks off if you know the patterns already. And basically what I'm trying to do is just, after breaking the armor stacks, I'm just trying to deal as much damage as possible without actually activating my identity or building stacks up, because my Blitz Rush and Soul Absorber do still deal a lot of damage. When you are running from the little javelins that come from the sky, or the spears, your best friends are basically going to be Spin Cutter and Dark Axle, as well as your dash, because those abilities do give you a good amount of armor, and they can get you through some of the hits, but it's not always reliable, so you may want to time stop. As you can see here, after the second air raid has happened, I am now starting to build Surge stacks up, because I know that he will be on the ground for a while. And again, as we are not doing the 130 bars to, as we are not using Balthor at 130 bars, we pop away here to make sure we can get that stagger check nice and early in the fight, and all of us are actually just doing the blue orb mechanic. But again, I'm going to pop my identity here for a second time, just trying to build up some stacks. I know he's about to jump into the air, as he does now, but I have around 6 stacks, and not too much happens in the very beginning here, and I know we're about to get a stagger. So it is safe for me to build up stacks without risking losing my entire identity gauge. And as you can see, unfortunately, I did actually end up losing my stacks I had built up because I let the timer run a little too long. But since I saw him about to jump, I went ahead and fired my Surge. No point in really holding on to that damage and not dealing anything. And you can see my party has done this a lot. We're very experienced together, so here we are throwing emotes on the little camera spot. And now my main goal is actually just to regenerate the orbs that I have. And now that I've gotten back to full, I'm going to again continue stacking, watching out for that bar 88 when he will break part of the stage off. Our party was pretty strong at this point. A lot of people, including myself, already had our 2-piece relic bonuses, so this fight is moving fairly quickly. As you can see here, I am playing a little bit greedy. I don't want to lose my Surge stacks that I built up. Might as well throw the damage off, as long as, you're sure that you're not actually going to die doing so. And again, just focusing on really building up stacks whenever possible. A big portion of this fight is just having the confidence to stay close to him, because it is actually safer to fight Valtan up close, you know. My back is to the edge of the ring, but I'm confident in my own abilities and my knowledge of his patterns. I know that I'm more than likely not going to fall off the stage, and I do know which of my moves have super armor, those being the activation of your identity gauge or your death orbs, firing your surge skill itself, and Dark Axle. So if I'm ever in a sticky situation about to get thrown off the ring, I can just use one of those to armor through the hit and I'll be fine, as I did just there. And the next big mechanic is at bar 65. Again, I did pop my identity as well, knowing that the mechanic is about to come up. Unfortunately here, I do get stalled out by these portals. But your identity meter does last for 30 seconds. It's okay if you activate it and don't get it off immediately. And unfortunately, he actually does go invincible for that surge skill, but it works out fairly well because now I have all 3 of my orbs completely full. I'm not wasting any time while this animation is going on. And I activate it in preparation for the counter, so I can go ahead and start building up stacks immediately. Just doing the reflect mechanic properly. And one thing I want to point out is if you guys are having some difficulty with low stack surges, like having to fire low stack surges and not regenerating orbs as quickly as you're used to because of the balance patch, one thing you can do, especially if you're running supercharge instead of grudge, is you can actually swap your rune on Soul Absorber to be a wealth rune, and it will help you regenerate those orbs a lot faster. I believe that most remaining energy players actually play with a Soul Absorber having a wealth rune on it. And this pattern here that he just did, the 2 swings inside, and then you gotta kind of stay close to him, is just absolutely great. That's when you want to go full DPS mode, because you know exactly what he's doing and he's really not going to turn around in the middle of that animation. So you can really take that window to build up or fire off your surge skill and just guarantee you hit that back attack. Now, as you can see, I like to make it very obvious when I have the pizza attached to me. It's hard to miss because I flip around a lot. Unfortunately, I got hit, but I do end up surviving, using Dark Axle to, you know, safely armor through anything else on the off chance that I did get hit. Whenever he does this spin move is a great time to throw your Void Strike or Wind Cut, because you know he's not going to be moving. It's a great time to build up stacks while you're just sitting there dodging him. And we are going to get down to 16 bars here. And as I am the raid leader, I did actually pop Balthor a little bit late, but it's alright. My party was pretty much ready for it. We are going to do this mechanic here. I'm going to time stop it, as well as one of my other party members. While some of them choose to do it, there are 6 punches, and then you want to time stop. He goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you want to time stop before 7 and 8. And we are going to move on to the last phase here. Basically, at this point in the fight, since we have 7 out of 8 alive, we have a lot of people who can reliably hit counters, and my main goal is to just do as much DPS as possible. I'm not too focused on actually hitting the counters because, you know, I have faith in my teammates hitting them, and I, as a Surge Blade, deal a lot of damage. So my goal is to just basically do as much DPS as possible and just trying to clear the boss before he goes berserk. So I'm clearly just focused on, you know, stacking, fighting the boss, hitting back attacks, trusting that my teammates will hit all the counters. As you can see, I'm not even going over to them. You gotta have faith here in your teammates that they'll clutch up. Making sure to dodge his basic patterns with the cross attacks and things like that. But since the boss doesn't move, it is really easy for us to deal a lot of damage here. Again, with that spin mechanic coming up, I dropped a Void Strike below his feet, so I'm gaining stacks even whenever I am running away from the boss. Gonna dodge that grab mechanic. You can also use Dark Axle to very easily flip out of that and over the boss. I do get hit a little bit here, but again, just straight back onto the DPS. Not worried about the counters because I have teammates that I trust will hit them. And we are coming up on the end of the fight. All of his armor stacks are gone. Just dodging a couple more basic patterns. We got 14 bars left. And there is a grab. Gonna pop Thyrane, throw my 20 stack Surge, and pop my Awakening to finish the fight off. And for that run, our Bard actually did get MVP, but as you can see on the side there, I am with the Cruel Fighter title. That means I did over 20% damage in the run, and the other two MVPs are Upright Fighter, so I did actually end up dealing the highest damage in that run. And yeah, that's gonna be it for how to play Surge. Basically, just think before you use your identity meter. You don't want to blow your whole gauge without you know, being able to properly build up stacks, or if you are going to have to do a low stack cycle, just try to make sure that you don't waste your main regen abilities like Soul Absorber and Void Strike. If you can leave those out of the combo and just, you know, throw as much burst as you can, then you can still hold on to those abilities to regain the orbs that you lose for throwing a low stack Surge. While they did nerf it and it does less damage, it still does a lot of damage, and having those abilities to regain your orbs makes the nerf almost unnoticeable, as long as you can, you know, prepare ahead of time for how many orbs you're going to need to regen. Usually just using Soul Absorber and Void Strike will get you everything you need. And yeah, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to stop by my Twitch and ask about how I personally fight Valtan, or you can ask below in the comments, and I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a great day, and hopefully you learned something.